this video, I'm going to be talking about things that burn my toast, which basically is things that annoy me, things that I don't like, things that make me angry, you know, stuff like that. So I have a whole list that I wrote out, and I'm ready to rant, always. So some of these may be, like, serious problems, and others are just, like, little things that just, like, get on my nerves, you know? But the first thing is when white people wear hairstyles that are not for white people. For example, dreads or box braids. It just, first of all, not only have you been told multiple times that it's damaging, like, it's not even, at this point, like, you know, when it comes to cultural appropriation, most of the time it's them saying, hey, this is disrespectful to us, right? But that's not even, like, the main argument that people of color are making in this case. It's them actually trying to help you because those hairstyles fuck up your hair. So I always come across these videos and I think they're funny as fuck. And then you have all the other white people who don't listen in the comments like, oh my god, you guys are so rude for making fun of them. You guys are so rude for laughing at this. This isn't funny. It is funny because they were told multiple fucking times, and it's all over the internet, not to do that shit. And they did that shit, and they're like, there's not going to be any consequences. And here they are facing the consequences that they were told would happen in the first place. So it is very funny because they got themselves in this situation. And I will come back around to that later. But anyway, they'll go and they'll get box braids, and then people are telling them, hey, your hair's gonna fucking fall out because you don't have the right hair type for that. And then, you know, they argue about these people that you would think that people, like people of color, black people specifically in this case, would know what they're talking about because it's a hairstyle that their people have been doing for fucking decades, at least. I don't know how far it goes back, but I know it goes back pretty fucking far. So I think they would know a little more about it than fucking Brittany from Beverly Hills, you know? So it's just very funny when I come across their videos on TikTok of them sobbing while their hair is falling out in chunks when they're taking out their braids or their dreads. Like, it's so fucking funny to me because you literally got yourself in that situation. If you would have just listened, it wouldn't have happened. So not only that, but also white people just most of the time do not look good with those hairstyles. If you really want dreads that fucking bad, there's something similar called matlocks that, from what I've heard, Vikings used to wear. So they're not for black people only. So do that. It's close enough. I think if you are not a Republican, this kind of speaks for itself. But Republicans, I'm not going to say much about that. But Republicans. Cancel culture. I think people do need to be held accountable for their actions, but I feel like, first of all, it's a waste of time because most of the time people, like, will be angry at them for maybe a couple months, but then shit just goes back to normal. For example, with Shane Dawson, he did a lot of bad shit. He's been doing it for years, and he made multiple apology videos, but did any of them seem fucking genuine to you? No, and he didn't make those videos until he started getting in trouble. If he really felt that horrible about it all those years, why was he trying to hide from it? Why didn't he just take them down immediately and then address it right then and there and apologize? But to be racist, a possible pedophile, and to possibly be into bestiality, that's a whole lot of issues at once. Okay, pick one, alright? Or, you know, don't pick any of them because none of them are good. But anyway, that's one example. But I just see, it feels like it's not treated equally for some people. Like, for example, you know, Shane Dawson got canceled, but now he's back and he's posting again and he's getting hella views. And if you look in his comments, a lot of it is people who are actually supporting him and happy that he's back. And people are like, oh, we're so glad you're back. We missed you. Who is we? Because I was a huge fan of Shane Dawson. This is another thing. People use this as an excuse. They're like, oh, well, I can't stop watching his stuff. I grew up with him. He's comforting to me. I started watching Shane Dawson when I was like 10 years old. And then I was about to be 19 when he got canceled. I'm 19 now. And so I grew up with him. I watched him for 9 years. I was a huge fan. I had his merch. I had his notifications on. Me and all of my friends watched him, but I watched him for almost 10 years, like almost his entire career, right? But I still dropped him when I saw that shit coming out because I was like, I don't want to be any part of that. No, I'm not good with that. So that's a fucking stupid excuse. Yeah, so now he's back and people are like okay with it, which, like, oh my god, what's going on with my hair? Which is like, why? People were so angry, so that's why I think most people don't actually give a shit about this type of stuff. Like, I feel like, because there's even people who of color who were like, oh, we missed you. Why? He offended you guys the most. Why are you accepting him? Anyway, I will not be participating in that. But anyway, and then, like, with James Charles, I haven't heard about him in a while, so I assume he's not doing that well. Like, I'm sure he's probably still posting. I don't think he's completely off the internet. But, like, he's not as talked about as he used to be, because I used to constantly hear his name all around until he was canceled. So it just doesn't make sense. Some people are accepted back when they did horrible shit, but then people who, and I'm not talking about like Shane and James in this instance. I'm past that. So don't think that I'm saying that James isn't as bad as Shane Dawson. They're both shitty. But you'll have people who made a bad joke when they were like 13, right? Because there are people who have been on YouTube since they were 13. And I'm not talking about blackface or anything like that, because by the time I was 13, I knew that that wasn't okay. But anyway, let's say they made like a bad joke, like Bo Burnham. When he was younger, he made some bad jokes, and now people accept his apologies and they've moved on. Like, I think the jokes he made, like, some of them were like homophobic. And from what I've seen, the LGBTQ community, which I'm part of, they were just like, you know what, water under the bridge, just move on. Because he genuinely seems like he's been reformed. But there is a community of people who still hate him. And then there's people who did horrible shit, like Shane Dawson, who are welcomed back with open arms. So why is it that somebody who did blackface multiple times, built his whole career off of it, made racist jokes, said slurs, and joked about having sex with animals and children, was accepted back with open arms? But there's still a community of people who are mad at YouTubers or influencers or celebrities for small shit too. Also, are we not going to talk about Mark Wahlberg? He literally has a criminal record of committing hate crimes, and everybody just acts like it didn't happen. Why is nobody mad about that? Also, why are we... I'm sorry, this point is taking a lot of time. I have like 25 different things, and I'm only on number 3. It's just, this shit pisses me off, the way that not everyone is treated correctly. And also, when people are canceled, it's just, you know, trying to get them off the internet. It's not actually, if they did something worthy of being locked up, like, you know, James Charles, allegedly. I'm not trying to get sued. Don't you think that he shouldn't just be deplatformed? He should be in prison? Because if they weren't celebrities, they would be in prison. If there was proof that they did it, fucking prison immediately. Because it's illegal, and there's proof that they did these illegal things, but since they're celebrities, they can just make a shitty apology video, and then people decide if they want to accept it or not. So anyways, it pisses me off because it's not real. Like, people will be mad about some shit, even just the most horrible things. Like, again, with Shane Dawson. He had a whole handful of shitty things that he's been doing for years, and people are accepting him back. Why? Y'all were so mad about it for months, understandably so. I thought that we wouldn't just move on. I thought that, you know, it was really done because things were not going well for him. But he comes back and he makes a really shitty series. Like, I used to love his series, like, when he would have multiple part episodes, you know. I watched YouTubers, like, doing commentaries on it. I watched them, you know, making videos like, oh, watching Shane Dawson's new series, so you don't have to, like, shit like that. And that shit was so boring. Like, I thought maybe they were framing it a certain way so that, it was supposed to cast, like, a negative narrative, which you don't need to do. He already did that himself. But I looked at that myself, and no, they didn't edit it to look worse than it was. It was truly trash. It was the most boring fucking thing I've ever seen, and I don't know if maybe I was blinded by how much I loved him as a YouTuber when I was, you know, before he was canceled, and I would watch his series and I would love it, or if this one was just a dud, or, you know, maybe it's just because I can't stand him now, I don't know, but that shit sucked. But yeah, so like people will get so angry and swear up and down that this is justice, this is what we need to deplatform them. But then a couple months later it's like, hey girl, missed you, how you doing, hope everything's going well. Like, no, fuck them. Anyways, there's even people who still are defending Bill Cosby, so why, you know? Anyway, so I fucking hate cancel culture because that shit makes no sense. It's not even real. Like, it's not even like it. You know, your career will go downhill for a couple of months, but then you'll be fine in the end, even if you committed an actual fucking crime. And that's why I hate it. That, and like, it has opened a window for people to get offended about nothing. That is like the only thing that I can see. Like, I hate to say, you know, I already said how much I hate Republicans, but, you know, they always say, oh, this generation's full of snowflakes, they're mad about nothing. Most of the stuff we get mad about is actually reasonable, but I have seen people get mad about the stupidest shit. I'm sorry if the camera's a little off. I just had to, like, go through and delete some stuff from my gallery because it was too full. Next is Chris Pratt. I just don't like Chris Pratt. You know, we just got all of that new information about him being like a Trump supporter and shit. Sound of hands rubbing together, it literally gives me like goosebumps all over my body, and like not in a good way. I don't know why. It's just like overstimulating me. It's always done that to me. I have goosebumps just thinking about it. Like, ugh. People who refuse to learn, you know, they're so embedded in their old ways, like, you know, like, for example, with the older generation, they're so embedded in women belong at home and they should dress a certain way and gays are bad, blah, 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 and they won't get with the new times. That's one thing. And then I also hate people who, they see something that they don't like when it comes to, like, learning a new skill or something, and, or, like, not that they don't like they want to learn it, but they think it's too hard, so they just don't even try. I hate that. I hate people who think it's cute to be stupid. Like, if you're stupid, then whatever, that's not your fault. You know, some people just aren't the brightest, and that's okay. Be who you are, you know, and that's not their fault. They can't control that, but they can still, at least, you know, people can still try to better themselves. I can't stand stupid people. One of the things that piss me off the most, I cannot stand when people get themselves in a situation and then they bitch about it. I used to have this friend who would date guys that we already knew were shitty beforehand. Like, there was this one guy that we knew he was shitty because we knew that he abused his ex-girlfriend and forced her to do a lot of sexual things that she did not want to do. And he also cheated on her all the time, constantly, with multiple girls. And then what did she do? She went and she dated him. Because that's a smart decision. And then I would have to hear her complain about her relationship issues. Like, I love her, you know? But I was so tired of hearing it. Like, usually if you didn't know, because, you know, some people just don't show their true sides until you actually get with them. I totally understand that. I was in an abusive relationship before. I get how that goes. But with that guy, we knew he was shitty. So then usually I would be like supportive and try to be there for my friends when they're going through something hard. But in her case, she knew what he was like beforehand, so I wasn't there for it. I did not give a shit. And my boyfriend was the same way, because my boyfriend have to hear her shit too, and we were both tired of it because everybody knew that he was a piece of shit, so why would you do that? And then her and his ex-girlfriend were like fighting each other for him. Like, the ex-girlfriend should have been happy that she was away from him, first of all, and why was my friend fighting over him? He was not a good person at all. Fuck him. And, like, but I just hate how people will see these red flags, ignore it, do whatever it was that they should not be doing, and they know they should not be doing, and then everybody else around them has to hear them complain about it. I also hate when people just complain all the time. I understand it's kind of what this video is. It's just me complaining about things I don't like, but I hate when people just always victimize themselves. There's this girl I used to be friends with back in high school, and she swore up and down everybody's out to get her. Everybody's always treating her like shit. Every teacher there was racist. Like, and it's like, if that's like a serious claim, right? Like, that can actually like fuck up someone's career if somebody comes forward and says, hey, this teacher is racist to me. So you would take it seriously, right? Because she was Asian. And so we were like, oh, like, how so? And she would be like, she gave me a bad grade or some shit like that. Baby, people are out here getting hate crimed. getting a bad grade on something that you did bad on is not a hate crime. That's just a consequence. Or she'd be like, oh, she treated me like this, blah, 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 blah. But then that teacher's actually an asshole. They just treat everybody like that. And even, like, her best friend, who I was also friends with, because we were, like, a friend group at the time, who is also not white. She's also a person of color. She is Cuban and Mexican. She would be like, girl, like, that's not racism. That's just how things work. That's how the world works. And so she would always just, like, if somebody didn't like her, automatically, they were racist. Maybe it's because you're kind of hard to get along with. And it's not because you're Asian, it's because you're a bitch. She's the whole reason I'm not even in that friend group anymore. I didn't have a problem with her best friend. But she was one of those people that always, everything has to be about her. She brought down other girls when the guys were around to bring herself up. She would make shit up. She would, like, start drama. She would get involved in other people's drama. She was always complaining about something. She was just like, it was just so fucking hard to deal with. And for the longest time, I thought it was just me. But then my friend was like, girl, she's starting to get on my nerves. I was like, you too? Thank you. Like, I thought it was just me. But then later on, I found out she's a Gemini. So everything makes sense. This next one might, make some people mad. But stoners just get on my nerves. I was raised in a household where, like, I'm the only one who does not smoke. I've never smoked anything in my life. I've never drank. I'm not old enough to drink either, but I think even when I am old enough to drink, I'm not gonna drink because alcoholism runs in my family, and I don't want to be the next one. But I just hate trying to talk to somebody who's high as fuck, which is, like, over half of my neighborhood, because I live in, like, a neighborhood where most of the people here smoke weed, or they have, like, serious drug issues, like, they do meth and shit, which obviously, like, I'm not dumb enough to say that those are similar. They're not. Like, if you're gonna do any drugs, might as well be weed, because it's the least harmful out of all the rest. But, like, I'd much rather be around them than a crackhead, but, like, still, neither is ideal, and we have a lot of both of those out here. So, I just hate, like, trying to talk to them, because they just don't, it's not processing in their head because they're so fucking high, and I hate the smell of it. I hate the way that I'll be going through, like, I barely ever am on Snapchat, but when I do go on Snapchat, I'll see people, like, posting pictures of their fucking bags of weed, and I'm like, okay, is this your whole personality? Because when it comes to most stoners, that is their entire personality. Their whole personality is that they're high 24/7. Like, get a hobby that's not smoking, get an actual fucking hobby. Maybe do something to better yourself. Maybe do something that is productive instead of smoking yourself into comatose and then eating all the food in your fucking house. I don't know. So I won't date someone who smokes. I don't have any desire to smoke. Like, if I become friends with somebody and then after we've already gotten close, I find out that they smoke, I'm not going to stop being friends with them. Because the two girls I was talking about earlier, both of them smoked. That wasn't, like, I was already friends with them. I wasn't just going to drop them. But if I have a partner who does that, I will drop them. Because I'm not going to be, because, like, with my friends, like, they're not part of, like, my intimate life. So, like, that's on them. Like, it's their bodies. They can do whatever the fuck they want. Which, even your partner, they can do whatever they want with their body, but it will have an effect on me because I'm going to have to be around them. I'm going to actually have to, interact with them when they're high. I'm going to have to, if we live together at any point, I'm going to have to be around that shit. And I'm already around that. I've always been around it my whole life, and I'm tired of it, so I won't date someone who smokes. I also hate repeating myself, and I have to do that a lot because my boyfriend's hearing is not that great. My dad's hearing is not that great. So I'm constantly fucking repeating myself. And, like, that's a me problem. Like, I know that it's not their fault that their hearing is not that great. Like, they can't control that. I just hate when I'm talking at a normal volume and I gotta repeat that shit multiple times. Like, I understand I talk fast. Like, I get that. So, repeating myself once, whatever. I understand. Like, I can talk fast sometimes, or sometimes I talk so fast that I stumble over my words or something. But if I have to repeat myself 2 or 3 times, I get irritated. I'm like, fuck it. I'm tired. I'm not doing it again. I'm not repeating it again. And, like, I know that, like, again, that's a kind of toxic trait for me. I'm trying to work through it, but God, I fucking hate repeating myself. Most Christians, I do say most, because I have met some good ones. Like, when I was a kid, my sister had this friend who, her mom was very active in the church, and they did a lot of charity stuff, and they would invite us, and we went to, like, their, like, picnics and stuff, like their church picnics, which was kind of, like, looking back, it's kind of funny to think of, because we were like the only white people there, and that was just the image of it in my head is like very funny. But I mean, her peach cobbler was fucking great. I still remember that shit to this day. I'm 19. I was probably like 7 when they were friends. And her daughter was so nice. She's the nicest, literally one of the nicest person I've ever met in my entire life. And they were Christians. So there are good Christians out there. But I just, you know, the Christians that won't let people just live their lives, you know, even if they're not bothering anyone. They just have to have their fucking 2 cents in there. They have to spread the gospel to people who don't want to fucking hear it. They have to, you know, push their beliefs. Mormonism. I know the last one was a religion, and this one's a religion too, so it looks like I'm just shitting on religion. I have met some Mormons, and I used to just not give a shit. Like, I didn't know anything about Mormonism, so I didn't care. But after meeting some at school, like, they were really nice people. Well, the 2 that I actually talked to, there was one guy and his cousin who was in my grade. The guy was younger than me. I think he was like a year younger. His cousin is fucking out there. She had this shirt that she would wear to school, and it said "Porn kills love." And every time I saw her, I tried my best not to bust out laughing. Her cousin was really cool though. Like, he was like pretty normal. Cause she's like, her family, they don't even have TV. They're not allowed to watch TV. Her parents are like teachers or some shit, and somehow they can afford to like travel because she went to Spain more than once. She's fluent in Spanish because one of her teachers is a Spanish teacher. And they weren't allowed to watch TV. They had one phone that they would all share. She was really smart. I thought she was going to be our valedictorian, but she wasn't valedictorian or salutatorian, so I'm not sure what happened there. But I don't think she was happy about it, because from what I heard, like, it's a legacy. Like, a lot of people in her family have been valedictorian, and she was not. Which, honestly, I hate to say it, I'm kind of happy she wasn't, because, you know, valedictorian is for people whose GPA is the highest, and, you know, overall GPA, and it's like a big achievement, and it's, you know, very rewarding. But I feel like I don't want a boring valedictorian. And she was so boring. And, like, she was very nice. Let me emphasize that. Like, she was very nice the couple of times I talked to her. But she did have this attitude that she was better than everyone else just because she didn't watch TV or cuss. And she had a shirt that said "Porn kills love." She also said she thinks that women belong at home taking care of the children, which I don't know if that's a Mormon thing or if it's just a her thing. But either way, I don't like that. And if it is a Mormon thing, then I don't like that. Also, Mormons still do not accept the gays, and they, from what I heard from an actual Mormon, they didn't even accept black people in their church until the 70s. So that's, you know, anyway. So obviously can't support that. But then, like, hearing about all this weird shit that they do to avoid sex, just fuck. Just fuck. You'll be fine. Just fuck. It's obvious that you want to. Why are you making up all these weird fucking loopholes? It's so, Anyways, it's pathetic. I'm sorry. But then also on top of that, like, when I was talking to her cousin, the more chill one, like, he has a TV, he has an Xbox, he's like a regular kid almost, right? And I was talking to him one day, and he mentioned his mission, and I always heard about Mormon missions, but I didn't know what exactly they were, what it meant, if it's only the guys, or what. So I asked him, and he was like, well, basically, when I turn, I think he said 18, I'm not sure, he said that he goes on a mission, all Mormons do. I don't know if it's just males or what, I didn't ask about that, but he said that they go on, their mission, which is they travel to, I don't know if it's always another country, but in his case it's another country. I think he said, I don't remember what country he said he was going to, but he said he's going to another country, and basically they're going to do volunteer work there, and while doing that, they're going to spread the word of Mormonism. They're going to try to, you know, convert people, which to me is just very slimy, you know, going to another country and doing volunteer work, which, by the way, did they ask for that volunteer work, or are you forcing the help on them as a white savior complex, you know? But then, you know, you helping them out, quote unquote, but then being like, oh, by the way, you know, since I helped you out, how about you convert to my religion, and, like, trying to push it. Also, he said that it's dangerous because, at least in the country he's going to, it's illegal to do that because they are very adamant about people having, like, a certain religion, because you know how in certain countries certain religions are dominant over other ones. I guess like in their country, you know, Mormonism is not the dominant religion, and it's not like America. You don't have the freedom of choosing. You have to either abide by like the dominant religion. I don't know what it is because I don't even remember what country it is. Or practice in secret and hope that you don't get in trouble with the law. And I think he said something about execution. See, I wouldn't do it. If I was a Mormon and it's females who had to go on missions, which again, I don't know if it's both or if it's only the men or what, I just wouldn't be a Mormon. Sorry, Mom and Dad, it's not happening. Because why the fuck am I going to risk my life going to another country to spread the word of Mormonism when I could just not, you know? Anyway, so I just haven't heard anything good about them. So Mormons just kind of... And I feel like I'm able to say this as somebody who has a religion that is widely mocked. So I don't really care if people get offended. And that's another thing that I was thinking about recently is, like, I remember, I think it was Rihanna, she had, like, a runway show, and the song was, like, something related to, like, the Quran. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I'm sorry, please correct me if I'm wrong. And then there was also, like, a TikToker who was, like, doing a TikTok dance too, like an excerpt. People like got so pissed off about it. They're like, oh, this is cultural appropriation, this is so fucked up, you can't do that, this is offensive. But yet people can dress up as sexy nuns, and we can have horror movies about dead nuns, and we can have like this whole Christian innocent girl trope gone bad. We can have that, and that's not offensive. Like, nobody bats an eye. But if it's another religion that is not being portrayed in a holy way, that's an issue. That's very weird to me. And again, it's not coming from a biased place. I am neither of those religions. I'm not Christian. I'm not Muslim. So it's not like I'm saying, well, if they can make fun of our religion, I can do it. We can do it too, because like I'm not either of those religions. But I think it's very interesting. I think like I don't understand. And then like the other day, I almost like I had to bite my tongue not to get in a fight, because on Facebook, I have this girl who I went to school with. We were never like friends, but we were lab partners a couple of times. And she's gotten very Christian since we've gotten out of school, because I know she wasn't like that when we were in school. She was skipping class, getting in fights, smoking, dating an older dude who I think was already a legal adult, and she was only like 16 or some shit. And she had a baby out of wedlock, like... Anyway, she also did not finish high school because of all of her fucking around, like her games and shit. She had to, you know, get a GED. So I think she just recently finished high school, which is fine. Like, I'm not making fun of her for that. You know, do what you gotta do. But does that sound very Christian to you, any of that? No. So, obviously it's something that happened afterward, which is fine. You can find your religion at any point. If you decide you don't want to be part of any religion, that's fine, whatever. So like I said, I don't have a problem with people being these religions. It's just certain parts of their religion or people who force their beliefs on the others is what I have an issue with. And so I posted about Astroworld and how people were trying to turn it into a Satanist thing and blame Satanists for it, which I brought up the point that, one, Satanists are not really like they are portrayed in horror movies and in Christian spaces. Satanism is very different than how it's portrayed. I'm not the right person to preach about that because I'm not a Satanist. But after hearing from people who actually are Satanists and actually reading about it and educating myself further, I know that, yeah, there are the extremists who are like out here sacrificing animals and doing blood rituals and shit. Like, yeah, there are people like that, unfortunately, and doing evil shit and blaming it on the name of Satan. But a lot of them are not like that. That's not how, like, because Satan, the way that they view him is not the same way that he is portrayed in the Holy Bible. So I brought up that point, and I brought up that we shouldn't be blaming a religion for the Astroworld incident. We should be blaming Travis Scott because he didn't do shit to help it. And I brought up that, you know, you can't always blame evil in the world on Satanists, because most of the time it's not Satanists just doing evil shit to be evil. It's just shitty people doing shitty things, or people making mistakes. You know, we can't just blame everything on a religion. Not everything ties back to Satan. Some people just are not good people. That's just the way that the world is. And she reacted to it, and she commented, and she was like, I mean, I'm a very serious Christian, and I don't think that I never thought that people do things quote unquote in the name of Satan, but I know people who have done bad things, and after talking to them, they said that Satan took over them and did those things. Okay, well, your friend's full of shit. I'm sorry. Unless he got possessed, or they got possessed, I don't know the gender of the person, but unless they got possessed, that shit did not happen. They're just finding a way to take the blame off themselves, because people don't want to truly believe that they are bad, so they blame anything else that they can. Oh, I'm sorry that I touched those children. I'm sick in the head. Yeah, fucking obviously. Does that mean that you're not gonna get consequences? No, you're going to prison. Oh, I didn't mean to shoot up that school. It was just a moment of weakness. I was so depressed. And then the news, you know, portrays them as this sad, depressed kid, and everybody pities them, and people, like, support them for shooting up a school. Like, that shit pisses me the fuck off. But anyway, that's a different conversation. Blaming things on, like, religions. You can't blame everything on a religion. I think that's what I was going with this. Sorry, I go on rants. People who don't discipline their kids, and I'm not talking about, like, spanking, because honestly, when I have kids, I will not be spanking them, but you can punish them in other ways that are not hitting them, you know? You could discipline them, just because that's not the only form of discipline. Like, you don't have to hit your kids to teach them better, you know? There's other ways to go about doing it. I'm not going to go into a whole spiel about how you should do it, because I'm not a parent, but I do know that you don't have to hit your kids, and that's not like it's that or nothing. It's not like if you're not gonna, you know, hit your kids, then you should let them run around and break shit and light stuff on fire and bite people and shit. Like, there is an in-between. There's other ways of disciplining your kids. So I hate when people don't discipline their kids, and then you're out at the store and their kids running around fucking creating problems. And, like, every kid has tantrums, you know, especially if they're, like, a toddler. Like, terrible twos are a very real thing. My sister has kids, and I was around those kids a lot before they moved away, and there was a lot of meltdowns in public. It's just a natural part of being a child, you know. They don't know how to deal with their emotions, but maybe teach them, maybe discipline them, not hit them, don't make them scared of you, but there are ways to teach your kids right from wrong, and teach them that that's not okay. So I hate when people just don't fucking take care of their kids. Like, for example, there's this YouTube video, I think it's an old one, but they call it, like, free range parenting or some shit, where the kids just don't go to school, they don't have a bedtime, they don't have any structure, they run around barefoot, they don't believe in, like, modern medicine. Like, those bitches piss me off. Anyway, fat shaming. Imagine being mad that someone's heavier than you. Like, as long as, first of all, they always use it under the guise of, oh, we're just worried about your health, which no, you're not, because most of the time it's just random fucking people on the internet. I'm never going to go online and be like, oh, that poor person, they're fat. Let me harass them into getting treatment in the comments. Let me tell them that they need to see a doctor, because I know what's good for them, even though I don't know them. Also, there's also the argument of, you don't know what their health is like. I am 233 pounds, and I'm only 5'4". First of all, I feel like I don't look that heavy. I am that heavy, but I do not look that heavy. Secondly, when people hear that, they automatically assume, oh, I'm lazy, I don't work out, I don't get any fitness in, I eat all the time. I barely eat. I don't eat big portions. I don't eat, most of the time, I don't eat most of the time I don't eat 3 times a day. I'll eat once or twice, and they're not big portions. I don't eat a lot of sweets. I drink a lot of water. I go to the gym at least twice a week. I'm actually going to the gym after I'm done filming this video. And let me just give you a full body shot, right? Like, we're so conditioned into people being skinny, you know, the way that we're taught that being skinny is to be beautiful, and if you're not skinny, you're not worthy. We see, especially for women, like men do have a beauty standard too, but the women's is the one that I grew up, being enforced because I identify as a woman. So you see all these skinny white women in the magazines and in movies. It's always a skinny girl who falls in love. If there is a romantic movie with a fat person in it, it's always most of the time, I'd say 95% of the time, the storyline is, oh my god, they lost the weight and then they got their man and she had a makeover. Why can't she just be fat? So it's really cemented in American ideals and American societies. I'm sure it's like that in other places too, but I have no experience in other countries because I've only ever been in America. So I only know what I was raised with. And so people are like, oh, we care about your health. No, you don't. You don't know how my health is. My health is actually good. The only problems I have are actually what caused me to be big. I have a thyroid condition. I have hypothyroidism, which means that my metabolism is slow and I need to take medication every morning. If I don't take my medication for a long period of time, I get really sick and I could eventually die. So, and then there are the people who are like, oh, that's just an excuse. It's not an excuse. I have my medication sitting on my bookshelf. It's an actual fucking thing. If you actually talk to a doctor, or, we're as smart as you claim to be, because you're in the comment section of random people on TikTok. You're in their comment section telling them that, oh, what's best for them. This is unhealthy and you should do this and blah, 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 blah. As if you're a fucking doctor. But you're not, are you? You're just some random person who came across them and didn't find them attractive, and you're going to make that their issue. Bottom line is, not everybody in the world is going to find you attractive. Everybody has their different types. And so I see people genuinely getting angry that there are people who find plus size people attractive. Why are you so mad that these people are attracted to bigger people? I mean, newsflash, you're allowed to be attracted to people who are not the same height and weight as you, who are not the same body type as you, and fat people deserve love too. We're still human beings. I'm sorry that's so, I don't know what's not clicking in here. I'm sorry that you're dumb, I guess. But it just makes no fucking sense, because I've seen it with guys. Girls will talk about how they like dad bods, and then here comes this muscular ass bitch looking like a fucking horse on steroids, talking about, there's no way that you actually like fat men. There's no way you like dad bods. There's no way you don't want a man who looks like me. You're just insecure. You don't want somebody who looks better than you. Do you think you look better than me? Oh, that's interesting. That's a different point of view. Being fat doesn't mean that you're ugly. Being muscular doesn't mean that you're attractive. For example, the people I'm about to name, this isn't a dig at them. I'm sure they're great people, but to me personally, I'm just not attracted to them. The Rock, very muscular man, not my type. Never found him attractive. Vin Diesel, also muscular. Never found him attractive. I think, most of the time, I am one of the girls who prefers a dad bod. I don't like super muscular dudes. I either like them very skinny or dad bods. I don't like muscular dudes. It doesn't mean that I won't date someone who's muscular, because one of my ex-boyfriends actually did have, a six-pack and, muscles and shit. He wasn't ripped, but he was, muscular. He had muscle definition. So it's not like I won't date them. It's just that typically I don't go for that. And the one guy that I was just talking about, my ex-boyfriend, he was an exception, because I didn't even know that he looked like that until afterwards, because he's one of those people who, he doesn't look muscular unless you see him without a shirt, and then it's like, oh, that's surprising. And so I think, him and then my current celebrity crushes are, the exceptions, because out of my celebrity crushes, 2 of them are actually pretty fit, and that's Adam Driver and Ewan McGregor. So, yeah, usually I go for the guys who are not seen as attractive by most of the general public. I actually prefer dad bods. My boyfriend has a dad bod. And, yeah, it's not an insecurity thing, because most of my ex-boyfriends actually were skinny. My first ever boyfriend, the one who was actually, no, he wasn't my first ever boyfriend. My first ever boyfriend, he was, very skinny when we dated. My boyfriend after him which is the abusive one, he was very skinny and not muscular, because we were only, 13. Well, he was 14, I was 13. My boyfriend after him is the muscular one, but then after him, he was just really tall and really skinny. It's not an insecurity thing. I'm not insecure about it. I don't care if somebody looks better than me, because then it's just kind of huh, How did that happen? Men. Just men. Most men. I think, like, my boyfriend, love him. He doesn't get on my nerves. He's one of the good ones, you know. But a majority of them are not. So, ugh. Close-minded people. So, if you saw my first ever video, because that's the only other video on my channel currently where I actually show my face, which that's not going to be like a regular thing. I will have more videos like this. It's just I've been doing a lot of Sims recently. But I do have a variety of things coming. I have them planned out, and it's just, this is the order that they're planned out. And if you saw my first ever video, you know that usually when I do my makeup, I don't look like a normal person. The way that I dress is different, unique. My style is gothic. That's my aesthetic. I like dark things. I like crazy out there makeup. I love goth music. I love rock. I love screamo. Which are all different things, by the way. I don't know why people are getting them confused. But anyway, and I get a lot of judgment for that. But it's not as bad as some other people, because there are people who look even more outlandish than I do. So grateful for that. But as somebody who hates being stared at and has anxiety, it's not great. But, like, I'm not gonna stop dressing how I want to appease these people, you know? So I hate when people are closed-minded and won't just let people wear what they want to wear, look like how they want to look like. Try to see things from other people's point of views, who are just biased and set in their ways. I kind of talked about that earlier. I hate, like, for example, people who, you don't have to understand something to respect it, you know? You don't have to understand something to, not be a dick about it. So, like, people who don't understand, like, gender identities and stuff like that. That doesn't mean that by default you have to be transphobic or bigoted. You could just either, A, not pay attention to it, just call people what they want to be called by, don't worry about what's in their pants. Or B, educate yourself, which ties in with what I said earlier about people not wanting to learn. So yeah, I hate when people are like, I don't understand this, I don't want to understand this, I'm not even going to stretch my imagination or expand my horizons to try to grasp this concept. That pisses me the fuck off. So we're almost at the end of the list here. I only have a couple more. People who can't take what they dish out. So they'll start issues with people. I see this a lot with, like, teenagers on TikTok. They'll go and they'll, like, say some stupid shit, as teenagers do, and then they'll be harassing someone who is not a teenager, right? And they get hit back with an argument, or they make a video about them, or, you know, they counteract everything that they said. They get sassed, they might get their feelings a little hurt, you know, they get called out, it's a this you moment, and they're like, you're picking on me and I'm a teenager, you're the one that fucking started it. Like, am I going to be the type of person that is going to start a full-on argument with a 15-year-old? No. Might I make, like, one video, you know, as a response to a comment or something, if the comment is good enough, embarrassing them? Yeah, because maybe then they'll shut the fuck up. But, like, I'm not gonna have, like, a full-blown argument. That is immature on the adult's part, arguing with a little fucking minor. But you can't just treat people a certain way and then get mad when they treat you that same way. Same thing with, like, I see people getting mad about this, like, let's say a skinny girl will, like, say something backhanded about a fat girl, and a fat girl says something backhanded back, and she's like, oh my god, you're so mean, but if we do that to you guys, it's fat shaming, blah 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 blah, you're shaming me, you're skinny shaming me. You started it. You can't just fucking start an issue and expect the other person not to finish it. If you're gonna be a bitch, be a bitch. Don't be a bitch and a pussy, you know? But, like, I see that all the time, like, the skinny girls on TikTok, and, like, this isn't me trying to start a war between, like, fat girls and skinny girls, or fat people in general and skinny people in general. I think that as long as you are nice to other people, people should be nice to you. That's not how it works, but that's how it should work, you know? Give what you want out into the world, and you'll get it back. Treat people how you want to be treated. But if you're going to be a bitch, then I'm gonna be a bitch too. I hate when people will, like, harass you or bully you, and then, like, you fight back, and they're surprised, and then people are like, you're not being the bigger person, blah, 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 blah. That's not how that works. There's a difference between, being insecure or childish or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and just letting people openly disrespect you. So, for example, right, in high school, I saw this all the time, and I always thought it was real funny. All these girls would claim to be so confident. They're like, oh, I'll beat any bitch up, blah, 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 and, I'm so hot, I'm so smart, I'm this, I'm that, and someone says something behind their back, which, yeah, you shouldn't be talking shit, but, like, let's say somebody is talking shit, and that person finds out that they've been talking shit about them. Now, as a confident person who doesn't give a fuck about anyone's opinion, are you gonna go up to them and try to physically beat their ass for talking shit, or are you just gonna move on because you're unfazed, because you're confident? And I saw that all the time. All these confident girls talking about, oh, they're so hot, they're so this, they're so that, they're just, top of the fucking food chain. Someone talks a little shit, and they get so pissed off. It must have struck a nerve then. Because if you were this confident and you were this successful, because people also thought, like, oh, I'm just chasing the bag, I don't have time for these bitches, I'm so mature, I'm so busy, I got this, I got that. Okay, then why are you on your way in the middle of third period to go jump this bitch in the bathroom because she said that she doesn't like your makeup? Like, it's so pathetic. I always thought it was funny, but it's also irritating as shit. These next two are just kind of like, duh, but, like, racists and homophobes. I don't think I have to explain that. Like, why are you so mad that these guys want to stick their dicks in other guys? Like, it's not you that they're sticking their dick in, right? Why are you so mad that this person's skin is a different color than yours? How does that affect you? What's wrong with it? Like, anti-vaxxers. I'm so tired. I'm tired of hearing their stupid opinions. I'm tired of having some in my family. I'm tired of them just being stupid. Like I said earlier, I can't stand stupid people, so this shit really grinds my fucking gears. It's not like people, I hear people who aren't anti-vax, they're like, well, you guys, maybe we should just, like, stop giving them any attention, because they're not hurting anybody, but they are. Like, they're not only spreading misinformation that's scaring people, and they're also just being fucking stupid in general, which can affect the general health, but they're also, cesspools of fucking filth, because these bitches are coughing without covering their mouths, not showering, and not getting vaccines, and spreading all their germs, refusing to wear masks, because it's always the musty bitches, I've never seen a pretty Republican anti-vaxxer. I've never seen a pretty Republican, I've never seen a pretty anti-vaxxer. It's always the musty bitches. So, I think that's very telling. Mullets. Like, ugh, they're so ugly. And, like, now it's a new trend. They're like, oh, mullets on men are gross. It's a red flag, but mullets on women, no. Mullets are gross. A mullet's a mullet. They're gross. Stop. And, of course, this is subjective. This is, like, one of the ones that I said how some of these are serious. Some of them are, like, lighthearted. They're just, like, me, like, my opinions. Everybody can have opinions. Am I going to treat someone like shit because they have a mullet? No. But, like, just know, in my head, I'm definitely judging. So, it's just a personal preference. I would never get a mullet, but do whatever you want with your body. It's your body. Who gives a shit? I mentioned this earlier, but Geminis, it wasn't just that one girl that I used to be friends with that I didn't get along with. I just have a problem with Geminis in general. Like, my ex-best friend from, like, junior high, looking back, he didn't treat me very well. At the time, I didn't even notice it, or maybe I just ignored it because I needed friends. I don't know. But he was mean sometimes, and I recently realized, oh, right, he's a Gemini. It's not surprising. My ex-abusive boyfriend was a Gemini. I've met so many Geminis throughout my life, unfortunately, and I have not gotten along with a single one of them. It all came crumbling down eventually. Geminis are just so fucking aggressive for no reason. They complain all the time. They're so fucking whiny. They think the whole world revolves around them. They're mean. They're disrespectful as fuck, and it's just, they're manipulative. I can't stand Geminis. X fans, as in, like, XXX and Tassione or whatever. I'm not gonna say much about him. I don't like him. I know that he's dead. But after hearing about how he was, I don't understand why he got so much support. I had a friend at the time, we're not friends anymore. I cut off most of my friends from high school, so that's why I keep saying, oh, my ex-friend. I cut off a lot of my friends after I graduated high school because I realized that they were not good for me. But one of my old friends, she was an X-fan, and she was, like, so tore up when he died, and I remember just being like, is it tragic that he got shot? Yes, but he, from what I heard, was just not a very good person, so to be that fucked up about it, and then if you brought up how he wasn't a good person, they would always be like, you can't speak ill of the dead, he's dead, you're so disrespectful. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if you're alive or dead. If you're a bad person, you're a bad person. Are we gonna only speak kindly of Hitler because he's dead? No, the man committed mass genocide. Fuck him. So, I just never understood that argument of, oh, you can't speak ill of the dead. Why not? Watch me. I'll fucking do it. Fuck him. But his fans are annoying too. They're the bitches who always think they're so fucking edgy, but they're not. They're the same people that used to make fun of emos, but like now they're e-boys and e-girls and shit. Like, you're not scary, you're not edgy, they're always the ones who like can't rap either, but they walk through the hallways mumbling rap lyrics and they swear to God they're gonna be the next big thing, and it just sounds horrible. And like, I understand starting out small. Like, I am starting out small. I currently only have one subscriber and it's my boyfriend, so like I know everybody has to start somewhere, but they swear up and down that they are like the next biggest rapper. They're gonna be the next fucking Tupac or some shit. But like, they're so bad, and then they force you to listen to their music because you're like trying to walk to math class and they're walking hella slow in front of you, throwing up gang signs and mumbling lyrics that they made up that aren't good. So yeah, X and his fans, all of them, they just, if I'm like about to follow someone and then I see that they're an X fan, I'm not following them. Bye. Same thing with the next one, Tyler the Creator and his fans. I have gotten into arguments with his fans multiple times, and I will fucking do it again. I don't care. He the song that he made about raping pregnant women. People are always like, well, he was just rapping about it. He didn't actually do it. Okay, if I made a song about murdering a bunch of babies and sacrificing them to Satan and drinking their blood, people would probably be a little angry. People got pissed off about those Lil Nas fucking Satan shoes. Like, I'm not saying that he was threatening to do it, but I'm saying, like, let's say somebody threatens to do something. Are you just gonna, like, let it slide because, oh, they just threatened to do it, they didn't actually do it, it's fine? Are you just gonna be like, what a silly thing to say? If someone threatens to shoot up a school, you're probably gonna take it a little seriously, right? Or at least I fucking hope so. My school sure didn't, but his fans are so annoying, and they're a bunch of fucking dick riders, and they're like, you wouldn't get it, it's shock rap, he was trying to get a reaction out of people. And then there was this one take that was so fucking stupid because it had nothing to do with the topic. Somebody was like, well, he actually said in an interview that his whole purpose of making music is trying to offend white people. Which, first of all, what a lame reason to make music. What a lame shtick to stick to. But secondly, I wasn't offended by the song because I was white. I was offended because he's rapping about raping pregnant women. Where did white come into this? Because that had nothing to do with the song itself, and it had nothing to do with any of the points that I was making. And thankfully, there was other people who were jumping in there like, that's a stupid fucking point. And there was even like people of color who were like, that's a dumb thing to say. So thankfully, I am not the only one who thought that was the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard. But it was just like, is that your only argument? I'm offended because I'm white? Because I'm not offended because I'm white. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't care that it's a rap song. I used to listen to rap music. I don't care that it's a black rapper. Most rappers are. But, like, it's the lyrics. It was weird. It was like they were trying to say that only white people get offended about making rape jokes and shit like that, which is like, it's the same thing with like people who try to say like certain jokes are okay because it's dark humor, but then they get offended over other shit. If it's not fucking funny. I know comedy is subjective, but joking about something that actually happens every day and is very traumatic, like, honestly, I think if I had to choose between getting murdered or getting raped again, I would choose to just fucking end my life, you know? I would just get murdered. Because when you're raped, you have to live with that. You have to live with the memories. You have to live with the trauma. Even if you go to therapy, which I can't afford, but even if you go to therapy for it, you're still going to have those memories. It's just you might be able to cope with them better. But when you kill someone, it's over. You're not going to feel anything once you're dead. So, it's not, rape jokes are not funny. Sorry. K-pop and their fans, K-pop itself isn't really, like, a problem for me. Like, it's literally just Korean pop music. Like, why would I just be angry about pop music existing? So it's not as much the idols and the music itself. I actually think that, from what I've heard, their songs are pretty good. You won't hear me, like, blasting them, because I don't know what they're saying, and I don't know if I'm gonna learn Korean. I've said before that I do have a passion for learning languages, and I'm gonna teach myself, Japanese, but I don't know if I'm going to teach myself Korean, and I'm not going to listen to music if I don't know what they're saying. But their fans are a fucking problem, and I have a whole video about K-pop and the K-pop industry and all that shit coming at some point too, which is going to ruffle some feathers. Back when I had my old YouTube channel, I actually posted this, and I got a lot of dislikes and a lot of comments about it from butthurt K-pop fans, but I don't give a fuck. I'm still going to do it, because people are allowed to have opinions. But anyway, their fans are fucking insane. They think that most of them don't even speak Korean, so you don't even know what their music is saying. Like, you can listen with subtitles, but, like, why? To me, that just doesn't make sense. Like, music is something for you to listen to and experience. If I have to read subtitles, like, I'm good. Like, I'll read subtitles to watch a movie or a series or a cartoon, like anime or something. But to listen to music, I'm not gonna have fucking subtitles on, because every time I listen to that song, I'm gonna have to be looking at a screen. I can't go out and do other things. Like, you can memorize what it says, but, like, also you can't sing along if you don't speak Korean. And then they also do the same shit that weeaboos do, like, a lot of them. They are like, oh yeah, I speak Korean, and then they only know, like, 3 words, which, like, for weeaboos, it's always, like, kawaii, and, senpai, and fucking konnichiwa, like, 3 random fucking words. It's just the words that I use a lot in, like, some anime, and they're like, yeah, I know Japanese. No, you fucking don't. You know how to annoy Japanese people, that's what you know. Anyway, so their fans are just fucking annoying. They never fucking shut up. They're always angry about something. Anyway. And lastly, this one is very out of place compared to the other things that I've talked about, but Planet Fitness. I'm someone who works out at Planet Fitness because it's a really cheap gym, but their rules are just fucking insane. Like, first of all, the one that I go to used to have a scale in the locker room, and I was reading reviews when I got a membership. It wasn't about my specific gym, but, you know, it's a branch, or I mean, it's a company. So it was talking about people who go to other Planet Fitnesses, and they said that theirs removed their scale because they believed it was fat phobic. As a fat person, it's not fat phobic. You're going to the gym to work out. You're probably trying to build muscle or lose weight, or, you know, something like that. So of course there should be a scale in there, so you can track your progress, right? Like, yeah, you can take pictures of your body. Like, I do that. I don't really follow weight. I'm just focusing on the physical changes, but there are people who want to actually pay attention to the numbers. So, like, it's just stupid. I was like, thank God mine has a scale. Well, it's been gone for like a month. I don't know where it went. I don't know if it broke and they didn't get a new one, but this is also during the time that the devious leg trend was going on, so maybe someone stole it. I don't know. But it's not there anymore, which sucks. I'm not spending money on a new scale, because last time I had a scale, I almost wound up with an eating disorder. So, anyway. So that's dumb. I hope they didn't remove it because it was offensive. You're not allowed to bring gallon water bottles in, which, on one hand, I understand because they can't fit into the cup holders. But why can't you just put it, like, off to the side? As long as it's not, like, in the middle of the walkway, I don't see the issue. But their signs say that the reasoning isn't because of the cup holders. It literally says they're not allowed because they intimidate other guests. Because if you don't know anything about Planet Fitness's slogan is that, you know, it's a judge-free zone, And, you know, you can go there and work out without worrying about people judging you from afar, or body shaming you. They don't want you to feel inferior to other people, like shit like that, which I appreciate that. But, like, banning gallon water bottles, and they also, men are not, well, I don't even know if it's men or if it's muscular men, because I've seen videos of like muscular guys getting kicked out because they have like thin straps on their like tank tops or whatever. They're getting kicked out because they're showing off their muscles. But then as they're escorting the person out of the gym, there's another person who's not muscular who's wearing like the same thing, and nobody's saying anything to them. So I think it's just like they say, because they can't exclusively say that fat people can wear it, but fit people can't. I think because they can't exclusively say that, they say, oh yeah, guys can't wear this. But in reality, it's just the muscular men can't. And then, like, women, we're not supposed to just go in like sports bras and leggings or sports bras and shorts or anything. We have to have a shirt on. But I've seen plenty, like, mine's pretty lenient. They've never set off the lunk alarm, which, if you don't know, the lunk alarm is an alarm that they set off when someone's being a lunk, meaning that you are intimidating other people because your ego is so big. You want people to think you're so strong, you're so much better than them. You're grunting while lifting weights, you have a gallon water bottle, you're dressed like a, you know, with a thin strap showing all your muscles, and yeah, like shit like that. That's never been set off at mine. I've been going to this gym for like 3 months at least. Wait, 4 months actually. And it's never gone off. I've never seen anyone get kicked out. I've never seen anyone get banned. But like, also, from what I heard, I've never been there when it happens, so I don't know if mine does this, but I've seen videos, so like I know it's a real thing. There's Planet Fitnesses that, like, one day a month, I think it's like the first Monday of the month or something, they give out free pizza and brownies at a gym. Like, anyways, Planet Fitness is so weird. But like, I go there because it's really cheap. Also, the weights only go up to 75. Like, the free weights, they only go up to 75. So once I get to where that's too late for me, I'm gonna have to go to a different gym. But anyway, that is it. This is things that burn my toast, things that annoy me, piss me off, whatever. This video took so much time to make because I kept running out of space on my phone, so I'm sorry if the lighting has changed or my position has changed or what. I'm about to edit this video, then go to the gym. So, thank you for watching. Please thrust into the like button, big subscribe button, and I'll see you next video. Sayonara.